Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2597 Sand Raiders 1. Yellow sand was swirled into waves by the wind, and the city center lit up with a whole expanse of red warning lights. Thousands of guard robots rose from the ground, their energy cores igniting simultaneously in their chests. Thousands of guard robots launched a fierce attack on the group of Earth invaders. Uncle Yu fired a volley of shots, thinking he could wipe out these mechanical life forms, but the results were not as good as he expected. After a moment of surprise, he revealed a set of snow-white teeth and sneered, "As expected of a mechanical life form from an advanced civilization, you're really hard to kill. Well then, increase the firepower." As soon as he finished speaking, a gun bay on his right arm opened, and the first pulse cannon fired with a thud. Firepower, rail pulse. From the core furnace, the energy generated by burning energy stones rapidly flows into the barrel of the pulse cannon, and intense radiation bursts out like the sun. Fire. The cannon was aimed at a group of robots in front of it, and a bright white beam of light burst forth. The impact triggered a powerful storm that sent an entire line of robots flying backward, and the textures on the surface of the energy shield rapidly became disordered. Snap. Ultimately, the difference in energy levels caused a large number of Sandsweeper robots to be blasted away, flying far away like kites with broken strings. In another direction, Liangyu had already taken flight. As Longming drew her long sword, her gaze sharpened like a blade, and powerful spiritual energy enveloped her. Her long sword, like a cold moon, slid in and out from the lower edge of a Sandsweeper robot's shield. What you keep in mind will eventually come to pass. Where there's a will, there's a way. She silently recited the incantation for drawing her sword, concentrating her mind on a single strike, unleashing a slash of extreme sharpness. Snap. The guard robot's body was slashed diagonally from the lower side, its upper body sliding down to reveal a smooth, mirror-like cut. Liangyu's figure had already turned into a gray phantom, traversing dozens of times between the Sandsweeper robots in the blink of an eye. Snap. Snap. Her attacks were even more ruthless than Uncle Yu's. With each strike, a robot was severed. The pupils of thousands of Sandsweeper robots gleamed with an unusual light. They seemed to be communicating, or perhaps calculating. Soon, the formation of thousands of Sandsweeper robots changed noticeably, becoming perfectly synchronized as if under someone's guidance. The Sandsweeper robot, wielding a massive energy shield, stood in front, taking the brunt of the two men's fire. Among these robots, some were wielding lightsabers, gripping them with both hands and striking the same starting stance as Liangyu. During the battle, Liangyu and Uncle Yu clearly noticed that their fighting style had changed. They slowly caught sight of Liangyu's knife and used it to devise a corresponding countermeasure. Uncle Yu's bombardment was also blocked by the large guard robots wielding energy shields. A group of snake-like robots suddenly burst out from under the sand and attacked Uncle Yu's lower body. These guys. Uncle Yu was taken aback and quickly launched himself into the air using his jet propulsion device. As a cyberpunk cyborg, he is a humanoid turret suitable for positional warfare. However, his weakness is that he is not flexible enough, so his lower body is a weak point. I didn't expect that these sand-snatching robots would discover us so quickly. Although Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin did not directly join the battle, they were observing the battlefield. Zhang Yi couldn't help but marvel. These mechanical life forms possess a very high level of intelligent learning ability. Yang Xinxin said, "What's there to say? Just bring them all back." No rush. Zhang Yi slowly narrowed his eyes, his gaze sweeping across all directions. The guardian that Freeman mentioned is probably also watching us from the shadows. "Let me help you cool down." Fatty Su took a deep breath and joined the battle. He raised his hand and clenched it, and frost flakes suddenly fell from the sky. the wind carrying a needle-like chill. Frost instantly covered a protective shield, and the heat wave felt like it had been plugged. Blizzard. The sky over the entire battlefield quickly turned gloomy, and huge snowflakes fell from the sky, then turned into a jagged meat grinder, rolling and crushing towards the sand sweeper robots. Soon, a large number of sand sweeper robots were swallowed up. However, this freezing did not last long. Soon, the frozen robots erupted with intensely hot flames, melting all the ice and snow. As expected, it's an intelligent robot with the ability to evolve on its own. Yang Xinshin said, "Isn't that interesting? I love these intelligent fighting machines the most." Lu Karen chuckled and clenched her fist. "Brother Zhangyi, let my mechanical flying crow have a go at them." When Lu Karen saw these sand sweeper robots, he was already itching to get his hands on them. She wanted to verify for herself just how powerful their intelligence really was. Okay. Zhang Yi, of course, did not refuse Lu Karen's request and released her mechanical flying crow troops from the alternate dimension. Ravens, Squadrons 1 to 3, bomb. Squadrons 4 to 10, dive and cut. Lu Karen's vocalizations resembled the rhythm of typing on a keyboard, concise and rapid. 3,000 mechanical crows surged out from the shadows behind her, lining up in the air like a black tide. A dense, dark mass of mechanical crows blotted out the sky before they began to line up and attack. The air raids and formation-breaking maneuvers proceeded smoothly under Lu Karen's command. But the difference between having someone in control and not having anyone in control is obvious. The sand-sweeping guard robots worked together seamlessly, like a single entity. However, when Zhang Yi's 4 capable subordinates joined forces to attack, their defensive capabilities suddenly proved insufficient. Thaddeus Su controlled the field with his ice attribute abilities, while Uncle Yu opened the flame nozzle on his left arm. He pressed the flames very thin, sweeping them across the entire battlefield like a welding torch. The combination of ice and fire attacks poses the greatest threat to these metal-made creatures. Many of the Sandsweeper robot's shells could not withstand the extreme cold and heat and began to crack. The moment their defenses cracked, Liang Yu arrived, his blade plunging into their chests. The robot began its second round of learning. Their data links switched instantly, and the shield closed at a significantly faster speed. Newly deployed heavy shield robots rose up from behind, their shields darkening in color and taking on a metallic, matte finish. Still learning? I just don't know if your evolution speed is fast enough. Liang Yu licked the tiger's mouth, her interest growing even stronger. She shifted her footing, and her knife technique abruptly changed, from a thrusting motion to a slashing one. Uncle Yu quickly reloaded and used piercing rounds with stronger armor-piercing capabilities to attack. Chapter 2598, The Sand Raiders 2. Uncle Yu's chest armor closed in the center, and the capacitors on his back lit up one by one, making him look like a volcano slowly awakening. Second gear. He slammed his fists together, and fiery red energy patterns flowed across the surface of the demon god armor, with steam rising from his body. The miniature fire control towers on both shoulders simultaneously emitted blue and white light, which crossed and swept across the front matrix in a net-like pattern. Fatty, give me a big ice rink. Lu Karen looked up, her eyes shining brightly. All right, here it comes. Fatty Su pressed his palm to the ground, and a wave of cold air swept out. A silvery light unfolded beneath their feet, and the 3,000 robots seemed to be frozen to the ground, unable to move at all. Meanwhile, the crow lowered its altitude, its wingtips drawing thin lines on the ice. The nanowires flashed, and several robots that hadn't even settled down were instantly sliced into pieces. Lu Karen smiled and flicked her fingers. Second team, move 3 degrees to the left and take over the sideline. Your shields have become stronger, but my blade can also become faster. Liang Yu took a deep breath and then exhaled a long white dragon from her mouth. With a swift movement of her long sword, she leaped into the air, flashing through the air as she moved among the sand sweeper robots. She made 3 cuts along the fragile crack in the protective shield, and the metal endoskeleton cracked like paper. The electric sparks danced on her face, but her gaze was terrifyingly steady, as calm as if she were practicing with a sword, rather than as if she were about to kill. Uncle Yu took advantage of this lull to maximize the power output of the shoulder cannon. The cannon barrel throbbed like a heartbeat, and the next explosion tore a huge chasm in the center of the battlefield. Metal fragments shot hundreds of meters high, and a large number of Sandsweeper robots were completely destroyed in this attack. It's flammable. Will it be able to be reassembled later? Zhang Yi asked with some heartache. I really want these top-quality goods. Just keep a few as samples. The rest will be easier to repair. Lu Karen answered crisply and decisively. That's good. Zhang Yi was finally relieved. The third wave of robot evolution has begun rapidly. They contracted their formation, with the front row turning into a crescent shape, while simultaneously launching a ring of countermines from their flanks. Blue dots light up on the ground, indicating preparation to use area-wide electric shocks to eliminate the flying crows. Lu Karen was prepared. Control thunderclouds. She tapped the headset lightly. Mechanical crows arrayed themselves in midair like dark clouds, while a layer of dim silver screen descended from the sky, like a sudden rain. The Sandsweeper robot's countermines were instantly destroyed, exploding on the spot and forming huge thunderstorms. Zhang Yi was quite satisfied with the battle situation here. His investment of time and resources in cultivating those around him was not in vain. Now, even without his intervention, these combatants are capable of fighting even against night-level enemies. This doesn't even take into account his relationship with Yang Xinxin or the Tianhai Fortress and the super battleship in his possession. However, Zhang Yi was still very surprised by the combat power of these Sand Raider robots. It's unimaginable how powerful the Sand Raider civilization would have been at its peak. Perhaps we might even be able to compete with the dragons. Zhang Yi said to them, I'll leave the rest of the battle to you. I'm going to find the Guardian here and get the key. Fatty Su got more and more into the fight, and with Li Yongyang helping him, he became even more determined. Hearing this, he proudly puffed out his chest. Don't worry, prisoner. We've got these rotten sweet potatoes and bird eggs sorted out. Zhang Yi nodded, and then continued forward with Yang Xinxin. But as he approached the central area of the city of Yellow Sand, something indeed couldn't hold back any longer. Boom! Zhang Yi felt a tremor beneath his feet, as if the entire city was about to turn upside down. Oh no, watch out. The big one is coming. Freeman adjusted his hat and said somewhat nervously. In Zhang Yi's left eye, an ancient pendulum began to spin. He began to observe what lay ahead, predicting the future that would appear within 5 seconds. He saw it. It was an extraordinary change. The wind and sand have worn the city wall into a blunt knife. The sky was hazy and yellow, and the artificial sun in the distance looked like a silver coin that had been polished repeatedly, cold and bright but not warm. The outer wall of the city of Yellow Sand is half buried in the sea of sand, and the towers, like broken bones, pierce the sky. The wind blows through them, producing faint organ sounds. 13 black lights shot into the sky from the distant desert, then lined up in a row on the horizon, as if someone had carved 13 marks in the sky with a ruler. 13 jet-black fighters flew in from afar, exuding a murderous aura. The fighter jet sped over, and the runes on its belly lit up one by one. Below, the figures of Zhang Yi and others had been firmly locked onto. Target identified, Earth-based human with special abilities. Danger level B. Battlefield parameters import complete. Execute the agreement. Erasure. Zhang Yi hovered in midair, with all things in the universe unfolding around him, protecting him, Yang Xinxin, and Freeman. 3,000 dimensional gates stacked into more than a dozen layers of defensive structure, resembling a slowly rotating Black Lotus throne. He fastened his tactical mask and said in a flat tone, Welcome the honor guard? Looks like I'm still pretty important. Their arrival would surely alert the Guardians here, and Zhang Yi was not surprised to encounter enemies. But Freeman told him, These aren't Guardians, they're their elite troops. Damn, this is the first time I've ever been this close to them. My earthly friends, they're counting on you. Zhang Yi rolled his eyes helplessly. My friend, so you're completely useless? Despite the complaints, the battle must continue. Let's clear out these scum first, Zhang Yi said calmly. Although these Sandstalker civilization's robots were quite powerful, he didn't believe they posed any threat to him. The first wave of firepower came swiftly. The energy cannons on machine fired, and the lasers pierced through space, heading straight for Zhang Yi. The railguns, like 13 white lines, scorched the air, giving off a slight burnt smell. The energy curtain exploded into countless stardust at the outer edge of the myriad phenomena, but all of them were swallowed up after entering the gate, as if caught by an invisible ocean, without even a splash. The first round of attacks had no effect. Ability assessment. Possessor of spatial abilities. Change the combat strategy. Use the 13-point phase resonance to create a layer of interference field that is differentiated with respect to the coordinates, causing the relative phase between the doors to drift continuously, forcing all spatial structures to lose their absolute reference. The squadron leader, B2, immediately issued the order. Activate space oscillation mode. Receive. 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 The responses rang out almost simultaneously. Just as Zhang Yi was about to counterattack with his demonic blade in hand, the 13 fighter jets suddenly changed their attack method. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.